Does it say that in the bill?
I'm
asking you to tell me what's in the bill, because you are pushing false narratives.
Two of them look like they really could and did play ball, and the other one looks like he could bomb you. Didn't expect to win that either. And here I am, you're stuck with me.
Three, two, one.
Here we go!
Might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
Oh boy, here we go. We're having a little bit more technical difficulties again. Let me try that one more time. I know we're on audio. Check 1, 2, check, check, check. Can people hear me? Any sound now? I know you're in the comment sections. Let me know if you hear this. Again, sorry about that. Have some interesting. Okay, here we go. There he is. Nope, no sound still. All right. So Joe Biden said a couple different things yesterday when we were talking about gas prices in Texas. Gas prices are through the freaking roof. If you haven't heard, I'm just going to play this clip from Joe Biden. This is him getting on a chopper yesterday, getting ready to leave the event that he was at yesterday. People asking, "Hey, is there anything we can do about gas prices?" And here's what he said.
It's gonna go up. Can't do much right now. Russia's responsible.
So there's the president again blaming Russia for gas prices again, because that's apparently what's happening. But I got some interesting tweets from the internet. Sorry, I'm trying to keep an eye on comments here. We've had some pretty interesting technical problems over the last couple days, so I want to make sure we're still maintaining audio and all of that jazz. I got some tweets. So President Biden saying nothing we can do about gas. The Russia is what is causing the problems. Interesting tweet here from Charlie Kirk yesterday. The price of crude oil increased 513% from between the moment Biden took office and Putin invaded Ukraine. It increased 25% since the invasion. The price that you're paying at the pump is Biden's fault, not Putin's. That again says that's from Charlie Kirk, talking about the increase in gas prices over the last year, let alone over the last couple days. Dan Crenshaw tweeted, Joe Biden is in Texas today, but won't meet with energy producers to find out what's needed to increase production, reduce prices, and reduce dependence on foreign oil. Instead, the White House would rather meet with Venezuela and Iran. Wow. That's so there's that. Ben Shapiro also had one that I thought was pretty dang interesting. So Biden is banning Russian oil imports, which he should have done since the beginning if he wanted sanctions to be serious. Duh. But is looking for a substitute to those foreign oils, including those from Venezuela. You know, the democracy where everybody is happy and fed. Venezuela. A Russian ally, an authoritarian state. Makes sense, says Ben Shapiro. In recent weeks, There's been indications, this is from the AP, I think. In recent weeks, there's been indications that Biden administration might consider Venezuela as an alternate source of energy in order to blunt skyrocketing prices and replace oil coming from Russia. The weekend trip by an American delegation was the highest level visit by the U.S. officials in years. There was also a big release yesterday. I think 2 Americans who have been held in Venezuelan jails were released yesterday. I tweeted, "Do we know what this is? Seems like the Biden administration working out some sort of deal with Venezuela to get gas." And like Ben Shapiro said, Venezuela is an authoritarian dictator state in which there's no food on the shelves. They are struggling financially hard. But since we cut off Russian oil and cut off a bunch of different oil from a bunch of different places and became more dependent on foreign oil, including countries in the Middle East, including Russia, including South American countries, because we've become so dependent, we now have to go outside of our comfort zone and get oil from those places. There was another tweet that here we go. Here it is. This is an interesting component from Stephen Moore. Joe Biden now plans to buy oil from fascist leader Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela and Iran. Why don't they plan to reopen American energy instead? Texas has more oil than Iran and Venezuela put together. There's the biggest question, I think, of all of this. Why aren't we just mining or drilling for oil on our own land? That is not to say that we shouldn't be screaming towards more green and more clean, efficient energy. But in the meantime, it doesn't really make sense to go abroad and only get oil from people who are at war with or are more expensive than doing it here. The argument, obviously, on the left is, well, what happens when we run out of oil in America? Well, that's probably going to be 150 freaking years from now, and by then, hopefully, someone will have invented something, God bless the free market, that would take America off of fossil fuels and the world off of fossil fuels. So there's that. I wanted to play this clip. This was really interesting before I get to DeSantis. Oh, by the way, you got to stick around for DeSantis. So funny. This guy's so good at what he does. Watch this clip from Joe Biden. This is, I believe, in Texas, some casual racism from the President of the United States. Who would have thought? Joe Biden? If you haven't already, I know there's a couple thousand of you watching. Click the little like button. Click the little share button. It really, really helps us out. Appreciate you sticking with us through the technical difficulties that we had yesterday and today. Hopefully those are resolved ultimately. But if you haven't, it doesn't cost you anything. Just the little like button, it really, really, really does actually help us out to keep doing what we're doing, and the little share thing, because I think people need to see this. I think your lefty friends, your lefty neighbors, your liberal Democrat neighbors, whatever you want to call them, we should see the casual racism from the president. I'm going to play this a couple times because I think it's interesting. Check this out.
The 3 congressmen you have here, 2 of them look like they really could and did play ball, and the other one looks like he could bomb you.
Okay. Again, we'll play that one more time. Listen to this. This is, if you're just listening to this, there are 2 black congressmen standing behind one congressman who may look Middle Eastern. I'm not really even sure what he looks like. But yeah, check this out again.
The 3 congressmen you have here, 2 of them look like they really could and did play ball, and the other one looks like he could bomb you.
Yeah, so casual racism from the President of the United States. Now, here's the thing, and if I'm going to be intellectually honest, I don't even know if intellectually honest is the term, fair about this, I could see myself making some kind of joke like this, and I could see a lot of people making a joke like this, but clearly joking. Now, in context, again, as long as we're being fair, the president also was making a joke, lightheartedness, I don't know. But the thing is, coming from that side of the aisle, you can't joke like that, Mr. President. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that joke. it's kind of funny, honestly. It's a little bit funny, and I could see people on my side of the aisle maybe making that joke also. But given the fact that the President of the United States is hell-bent on destroying any kind of racism in the country, which, one, doesn't exist nearly to the scale that they think it does, and two, it's impossible to get rid of it entirely, unfortunately. Just because the President of the United States is on that side means he can't make those kinds of jokes. But he does, and just one more time, I know that I just saw like another 500, 600 people jump on here, so I'm going to play it one more time, and then we'll get into DeSantis.
The three congressmen you have here, two of them look like they really could and did play ball, and the other one looks like he could bomb you.
Getting a couple comments saying, wow, that's not funny. Okay, yeah, maybe you don't think it's funny. All I'm trying to say is that in the art of being fair to people, I wouldn't be concerned if somebody else other than Joe. Personally, I'm not concerned about this at all. Maybe you don't think it's funny. Maybe you think it's racist, because it is probably a little racist. I'm not concerned about it. But the irony is that the president is on the team of must dismantle racism at all costs. On to this fun one. Good old DeSantis. So have you heard about this don't say gay nonsense? That is the title given to this bill passed in Florida and is waiting approval by Governor DeSantis. It's been called the Don't Say Gay bill, which we're going to get into. Doesn't make any sense at all. At all. I'm trying to figure out which way to do it. So a reporter, I'm going to set this clip up. A reporter is asking Ron DeSantis about the Don't Say Gay bill. And then DeSantis fires back hard. Listen to this and we'll kind of discuss. So just so you know, now we're going to play the clip. All right, listen to this clip and then we will discuss on the other side what the heck the bill is and how crazy misleading it is.
Asking on parental rights and education, what critics call the Don't Say Gay bill, is on the Senate floor.
Does it say that in the bill?
I know that you support.
Does it say that in the bill?
I'm asking
you to tell me what's in the bill because you are pushing false narratives. It doesn't matter what critics say.
Hold on, it says it bans classroom instruction on sexual identity and gender orientation.
For who?
For
grades pre-K through 3. So 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, and the idea that you wouldn't be honest about that and tell people what it actually says, it's why people don't trust people like you, because you peddle false narratives. And so we disabuse you of those narratives. And we're going to make sure that parents are able to send their kid to kindergarten without having some of this stuff injected into their school curriculum.
So again, if you're not following it, the left in the media and all of your celebrity types, it was on Saturday Night Live. Kate McKinnon did a big thing during the Weekend Update, calling it the Don't Say Gay bill. And Democrats and liberals are saying, well, Florida's trying to make it so you can't even say gay in the classroom. That is so not at all what's happening, like not even close. The idea that this thing got labeled Don't Say Gay by your lefty media and your mainstream media outlets is honestly hilarious. Because what it actually is saying that, hey, maybe let's not teach kindergartners through 3rd grade. Maybe let's not teach them about gender identity and sexuality. That seems like kind of a good idea. I mean, in 3rd grade, I didn't know anything about that sort of thing, and nobody in the past 2,000 years of education was ever brought up with that sort of stuff in kindergarten and 3rd grade. Why do we have to teach it now? The bill, again, of course, is not saying, what it is not saying is you can't say gay in the classroom, ever. That's not what it's saying at all. It's being horribly miscategorized by your mainstream big media types and a bunch of your celebrity activists. No surprise there. The bill actually, again, is saying, hey, maybe kindergartners through 3rd graders maybe we shouldn't teach them. Maybe it's not necessary to teach them about gender identity and sexual traits. Sounds like a good idea. But the National Review had this pretty interesting article that outlined a couple of the different ways that the media has categorized it. Time magazine said Florida just passed the Don't Say Gay bill. BBC News said Don't Say Gay passes Florida Senate. ABC News says Florida lawmakers pass Don't Say Gay. Let me see who else is there. NBC News says Florida passes Don't Say Gay. CBS News, Florida House passes controversial Don't Say Gay bill. This is funny. In the article, it says only Republican bills are controversial. NPR says Don't Say Gay bill passes in Florida House. National Review says, to its credit, CNN ran the most accurate headline. Florida House approves bill prohibiting schools from discussing sexual orientation and gender identity in K-3 classrooms. The bill goes on, this article goes on and on to talk about a bunch of the different components of the media and their narratives, but that's just kind of, well, I don't know. I don't know how much I want to get into this because we all are aware of this. So bottom line, let me bottom line this article for you so I don't read through the whole thing and bore the crap out of you. The bottom line here is be careful constantly, and we've said this for months, if not years, months since we've been doing the show. I've been saying this for years. Your mainstream, your lefty media is very good at twisting words. The left side of the aisle is fantastic at manipulating language to make it do what they want it to do, even though it has nothing to do with the topic at hand. Again, this bill is not outlawing any sort of language that would include the term gay in classrooms throughout Florida. No, it's saying, hey, for third graders and under, kindergartners through third grade, maybe we don't need to teach them about gender identity and sexual orientation. How about we don't put that in the curriculum? That's all this bill is saying. So there's that. Bottom line, be careful about the language being used in your media. I wanted to get to this. I thought this was actually a really, really interesting poll, and I'd be curious in the comment section what you think. There are a lot of interesting opinions going around Ukraine. There's deep state stuff. There is heroic stuff. There is Putin is crazy stuff. There is Biden let this happen stuff. There are a lot of different angles and a lot of different pieces to this Ukrainian puzzle. But what everyone pretty much agrees on is the fact that Ukrainians as a people, despite the corruption of the Ukrainian government and the Ukrainian oligarchs and Zelensky and all of that sort of stuff, the Ukrainian people that are caught in the middle of this, I think we can all agree, have shown a lot of courage and fight for their country. There was an interesting poll that came out. Let me see if the technical stuff has been pretty difficult to wrestle with the last couple days. But there's an interesting poll that came out of whether or not Americans would fight for their country if it were being invaded by, say, perhaps China. This is also from the National Review. Charles Cook in the National Review writing about the polling that took place on whether or not Americans would fight for their country as part of a recent survey of attitudes towards Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This polling from Quinnipiac asked Americans whether they would stay and fight if the United States was invaded by Russia. The results might be sobering and often disgraceful. Again, this is the words of Charles Cook in National Review. 68% of Republicans say they would stay and fight, with 25% indicating they'd run away. Now, how that question was asked, I'm not entirely sure. And then again, I see a couple of you in the comment sections. Maybe you're mishearing what we're saying here. This is if Russia invaded the United States of America. We're not talking about going to Ukraine and fighting. We're talking about protecting our homeland, the United States of America. Would you stay and fight? 68% of Republicans said they would stay and fight. 25% indicated they would not. Among independents, the numbers are 57% would stay to 36% would go. Among Democrats, they're in the negative territory. At 40 would stay and fight, 52% would leave the country and not fight for the United States of America. Among 50 to 64-year-olds, and this is where it gets interesting, men and women, the stay to leave numbers are 66% would stay and fight for America, and 28% would flee the country. Among 18 to 34-year-olds, however, they are 45 to 48. Stay and fight versus leave. 18 to 34-year-olds, the prime age that we would need to combat any sort of invasion from a foreign entity, is about half. Or to put it another way, this is what I just said, what he now says in this article. A majority of prime-aged Americans whom the United States would need were such a crisis to arise, imagine that they would flee if that crisis ever came. Charles Cook goes on to say, what a shame. So I'm interested. I'm interested. A lot of the people on the... So, caveat here in this sort of things, the question is really asking, what do you think you would do? Not what would you do, because we don't know what we would do. I would like to think that I would stay here and fight for not necessarily the land, but the ideals of an American society, the freedom that we have here. I would hope that a lot of us would say, yeah, absolutely. Again, this poll is not asking what you would do, because again, you don't know what you would do. And to say that, oh yes, I would absolutely do this if it happened. Fortunately, in America, there's no real possibility of making that decision anytime soon. But when I get to some comments, Jesse said, I would lock and load for my country. Awesome. Joe says, heck yeah, I would. Pretty much everybody in this comments, is there anybody who disagrees? I'm curious. I'm scrolling through these. Jeremy says, 46 years old, would stay and fight. Oh, this is interesting. LD says, I would stay and fight under a Republican. Interesting. Joni says, leave now if you wouldn't fight for our freedom. That's probably closer to where I'm on this issue. Pretty much everybody's here to say. So I'm curious, just to kind of pick apart these numbers a little bit. And again, let me know in the comment section what you think. But if 18 to 34-year-olds, let's see what those numbers were specifically. 18 to 34, they're about half. Half would stay and fight, half would leave. Those numbers are obviously higher the older you get, but what I would imagine that is coming from is if you indoctrinate kids from an early age all throughout their government-funded schooling, their government-controlled schooling, that might lead them to believe that, wow, this country is not worth fighting for at all. There's nothing good about America. That's probably where those people get those ideas, and not recognizing the fact of how freaking lucky they are to be in the United States of America. There's a lot of people in the comment sections that I've talked to that I think are interesting. A lot of the people, so there's a couple comments here that said along the lines of 65% of Americans wouldn't actually do it. They'd pansy out. I actually think it's the opposite of that. Like we talked about, this poll is saying what you think you would do. I think if America actually was under threat of invasion, I think those numbers would go up. I think more Americans would stay and fight than this poll would suggest. I think when it comes to the heat of the moment, it seems like more people would take the call as opposed to try and run away scared. But that's just me. I'm not entirely sure. Pretty much nobody in this comment section has said they would leave. Dang, yeah, wow. Pretty much everybody. I'm 52 years old. I'd stay and fight. I'm 58 years old. I'd stay and fight. I'm older and have more guns now. Love it. That's an interesting. I would love to keep the comment section going and see where you're at on this. Maybe we'll review, I don't know, in a couple of weeks and see where people are at, especially as they watch the Ukraine-Russia situation unfold. But this would be an interesting, it's an interesting question to see what Americans would do. Dang, I'm reading all, these people are flying in with these comments. So really, really appreciate everybody tuning in, paying attention, and participating. I love the audience participation. So yeah, love to keep comment sections going. If you haven't already, would appreciate a follow on any of your social media platforms. At Jobob, pretty much anywhere you follow, anywhere social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. If you haven't, the last couple of days I've been on fire on Instagram. I've been absolutely hilarious. I know that's self-aggrandizing, but it is true. You can follow me on any of your social media platforms. Just type in Jobob. I'm on Twitter, Getter, Truth Social. I'm on Truth Social now. So if you have a Truth Social account, at Jobob there, I tend to be hilarious. I plan to be hilarious there, but not quite acclimated to the system yet. But follow me anywhere you follow social or you have social media. You can find me there. Let's see. Tomorrow, I'm trying to figure out if there's anything interesting that we're talking about specifically tomorrow. Maybe want to hit some updates on that Wisconsin voter registration irregularities. Oh, the White House freed a 9/11 hijacker. Not somebody very involved in the 9/11 attack. They just sent him home to go get mental health treatment. So there's that. Maybe we'll dig into more of that tomorrow. But gas prices continuing to be kind of the biggest story that everybody's talking about. So we'll update you on anything happening in Ukraine and currently in the United States with what's going on with gas prices. That's going to do it for us today. We appreciate you tuning in, especially through our technical difficulties. I think they're resolved. I think they're resolved. Hopefully we won't have them tomorrow. But we will see you then. God bless America.